This is American Dumpster Fire.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to American Dumpster Fire. This is Loki.
And this is Tyr.
And we are going to discuss things that are going to piss you off today.
As always.
So
That's because there's really nothing out there but things that piss you off at this point.
Well, I mean, I look forward to when we can do fluff pieces because we don't have an orange moron in charge, right?
I know.
So.
And his children and family.
Yeah, his crotch goblins.
Ugh.
So the moron in chief appointed Jared Kushner to do something or other. I don't know. It's all nepotism, right? I mean, doesn't matter.
It really is.
It's another thing he's unqualified to do.
For sure.
So
clearly, judging by the fact that he stood in front of a microphone and told the press bullshit that was completely untrue in the middle of one of the press briefings, and then they had to change a federal website to match the bullshit that he's spewing.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, I don't. It just goes to show you that all you have to do to hold the job of your dreams is to be rich.
Right.
And then they'll just put you in place.
To have, fallen from the correct vagina so that you inherited wealth that you then blew and then took over a country.
Right.
Because it has been dumbed down enough to think that you are particularly smart in some way.
And now we get the pleasure of being his piggy bank. So.
Indeed.
So anyways, Kushner
is a moron, yes.
He
literally decided that the federal stockpile was for their use. I'm sure it was taxpayer funded. So paid for by all the states.
Well, yeah,
and
what else
all
would
the
it be funded
citizens,
by, right? I mean,
right. That this federal stockpile was for their use and not for the states to use when it was needed, which is actually the opposite of what the website used to say. But then within hours of Jared Kushner deciding that that's what the federal stockpile was for, they changed the website to match the bullshit that he said.
I do love that they forget that there is like an internet archive and we can look back at everything you've done. It's like
right.
You can lie all you want, but we can look and see that you lied.
Right. The problem is that their supporters, A, don't care that people are dying, and B, don't want the truth.
No. Yeah, this is definitely. I think that if we had a program where you had Trump directly beamed into your brain and that's all you could think about, is they would definitely take that.
They do. It's called Fox News.
So yeah, now that he can't have his Nazi rallies in every state, he has daily Nazi rallies on TV. So
I know. And then he talks about how high the ratings are, and it's because we're literally watching a disaster unfold. We're watching a train wreck, and you just happen to be at the center of it,
Yeah. My friend hates Trump, and he watches it, and he just laughs his ass off about how stupid it is. I couldn't. I was watching it the one day, and half of it was nonsense.
That's my problem. I can't watch him speak because it's not English. It's like gibberish.
It's literally the equivalent of watching like a fascist Teletubby. Like, it makes no sense. It's just utter bullshit. But there's a whole section of our population who still believes it and buys it. And I'm not even sure how, because the words don't make sense. It's word salad. And it's
a
like,
lot of it
do you
is.
guys share the same word
He gets
salad?
a sentence in there here and there. But, yeah, so much of his quotes are... I can't even decipher what the fuck he's trying to say. I don't know that he's trying to say anything.
But this is common. His speech, his patterns of speech, are common to drug abusers. To like.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, I've heard many people say that it's either dementia or like Adderall overuse.
Yeah,
or something
no, it's
like
common to drug abusers that they can't. They have these flights of ideas and everything, and they can't spill out the information properly.
I'm also not
I'm
sure
almost
he's ever had anything intelligent to say in his life.
Like, I've got to think if you did a brain
He's a
scan,
con
you'd find
man.
lesions. I mean, there's definitely damage done there. So
maybe
it's crazy. But all of this, let's face the facts. All of this tells us that we need to vote, right? And now he doesn't want us to vote, and that's why Trump is saying that he is against mail-in ballots and everything, right?
Right. Yes, he said that the election should still go on in November, but you should have to show up at the poll with your ID, and there will be no mail-in ballots because then the Democrats are going to, you know,
But mail-in ballot was always a thing. Okay.
mail-in ballot has always been a thing, and it should be more of a thing now so that you don't have to sacrifice your life to have a vote.
Right.
But if there's anything that the Republicans are well known for, it is their efforts in voter suppression.
Right. Yeah. But I mean, let's be honest here. We should have a system where every American is automatically registered to vote. Period. Secondly,
Obviously.
mail-in ballots should be automatically sent to your homes.
They used to be. In our state, they used to be.
I didn't
They're
automatically
not.
get them.
They're not any. Oh, maybe it was if you had requested them once, they still sent them.
Oh, maybe. I don't
Because
know.
I used to vote by mail, and then there was a point when they had found a bunch of mail-in ballots that weren't counted or something like that.
Right.
And so I was like, fuck that. I started going back to the polls. Now you have to request it, and it's literally tracked. Like you can track it now.
I think it should be a federal felony with a penalty of life in prison if you
are
tamper
in
with
any way involved in any kind of voter suppression. I completely
tamper,
agree.
yeah.
And how the fuck is it not in a democracy?
Right, right.
Voting should be the
That should be
most
considered
important-
treason to
Yes,
interfere with voting.
It is the most important thing we do, and yet the voter suppression bullshit is everywhere.
It's epidemic,
Closing
and it's
down-
always Republicans doing it.
Because it affects the Democrats the most.
Well, Trump
They are
admitted
constantly closing
that they can't
down.
win without it.
Did he?
His own words, yes. They can't win without it.
Yeah, no, they're constantly talking about how they will close down the polling places in Democratic areas, so you have to wait for hours to get your vote in, whereas there's no wait in Republican polling places, and that there's locations everywhere.
Right.
So, I mean, and then you constantly see that's where they'll give like the Democratic sections like 2 voting machines, whereas other like the Republican places
See,
have
none of
like
that should be an issue.
10. You know, like no, none of this should be an issue. And if they gave a fuck about democracy in the slightest, none of this would be happening.
Okay, we need to stop with the fucking party bullshit, right? We need to get to, first off, we need to go to ranked choice voting so that anybody can vote for whoever they want. It doesn't matter if you're a Democrat or Republican. You should be able to
Or
vote for
neither
any,
one.
Neither. Well, ranked choice is about you could have 20 candidates on the ballot, and you just write a number next to them in the order you like
Your
the most to
choices,
least.
right.
And you don't have to write anything next to them if you don't like the person.
No. And here's the thing, is that this country was built on the fact that its citizens vote.
Right.
This should be our most protected thing.
I mean, the truth is that our founding fathers did not care about your vote.
The truth is that our founding fathers still tried to sway the vote. And that is evident by the fact that the Electoral College was basically built on racism.
Yeah, I mean, look.
But that wasn't initial.
people
That
who-
wasn't at the point
At
when
the
they
very
built
beginning,
America.
no, but soon after.
Yes, soon after, yes.
But
The country was founded on the
let's
concept
stop
that the
acting
people decide, that there's not a tyrant in charge that has the full say. And that's exactly where we're at right now.
let's stop acting like our founding fathers were infallible people. They had some good ideas, yes, but they were flawed human beings.
Which is why there's the ability to amend the Constitution,
Right.
to add amendments. They made it to where you could correct their mistakes.
Correct, and correct the mistakes made after them.
Right.
You know, because people did come along and put
Yes,
terrible
so somebody
things in there.
please tell
and
me
we've
how to
erased
correct
them.
this massive mistake we made in 2016.
I think that's what nature's trying to do, but
I agree
We're
with you
blocking it.
completely.
so
I really think that we reached this point where, I mean, the Earth is basically one. It's an ecosystem. It's a naturally, it's
Yeah.
a thing that works. And basically, it's got this awful infection that it's going to kill it. It is dying because of us. We are the infection. We're parasites that are destroying our own habitat.
right.
And I mean, of
Yeah.
course, there was going to be some kind of retaliation.
That's the thing. So intelligent organisms find symbiosis with the world they live in, their environments
Right.
and what have you.
And I think
And we
that
have somehow-
individual people do, but are the people who, it's like 100 corporations who are
Yeah.
causing the most damage to this planet,
Right. Yeah.
And so the bottom line is that until that stops, I don't think that the massive hurricanes we've had, how many earthquakes have we had recently?
Right.
Hurricanes, tornadoes, illnesses. It seems like these epidemics are kind of becoming more of a thing. It's not going to stop until we stop damaging.
Well, look what happens when.
Our
Okay, so when you
environment.
get sick, Your body takes certain measures to get rid
and
of the
it
sickness.
attacks.
Right.
Right.
And so you get a fever and, all these other things happen, inflammation, everything. All these things are designed to try and stop an illness.
Right.
And I think it's no different with the world in that,
I
in that
agree
case,
completely.
is that the world is going to become more habitable to these disasters, in our opinions, but
Right.
realistically, maybe they're immune defenses,
Exactly. Because truly, the only thing that's going to save this planet is getting rid of people.
So,
Unfortunately, it's hitting the wrong people. The billionaires who own those corporations who are driving this world into extinction, into a mass extinction.
right.
They're the ones. They're not going to be touched by this.
Yeah.
They're rich. They're hiding in their mansions.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's none of it's ever directed, right? I mean, your body makes blanket reactions to things,
Right,
and
it's
the same thing
not-
is true of the
it's-
world. It's
Yeah, I mean, it
not
tries
targeted.
to target. Sometimes your immune system can attack itself. You can attack yourself and everything. Like there's always
right.
it can't specifically go after the thing it needs to go after. But
So our only peaceful recourse is voting the people out that billionaires fund.
yeah, we need to make a full reversal
And-
on the way that we live. We need to make a full reversal on funding these oil companies and all this stuff. We need to do what Germany has done and go towards solar and
Yeah.
wind and stop damaging our environment if we want all of this craziness to stop.
Right. Well, and I always thought that it would be like such a desirable thing for each American to be self-sufficient, right? In the way that like
Yeah,
you
off
build
the
homes,
grid,
You
right.
build homes with their own electrical, with their own water systems, with their own, and they're not reliant on. And think about how difficult it would be for a
That has
terrorist
been
attack
so
to affect.
suppressed, though.
Yeah, I know.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So terrorists are
Like-
like, we're going to take out the water grid, not taking out mine.
right. And like that's the thing is that you could literally be going through something like this, and
Yeah.
not worry that energy is going to be cut off. I'm not going to be able to like run my electricity or any.
But
No,
that'll-
because the sun's not going to be turned off.
Right.
Right. So you're
The wind
still,
doesn't go away. The
right.
sun doesn't
you
go away.
would still be completely reliant
It
on your
still
own
rains.
systems
Yeah.
to right. Yeah, so you'd still be able to like water your vegetables and stuff with your rain barrels. You would still be able to, harness your solar energy to run your house.
Right.
And I mean,
And think about how nice it would be not to have all the wires overhead and,
right.
not to have, like, my water and stuff keeps getting screwed up and everything, because the city needs to fix things and
Right.
what have you. What if we didn't have to go through all that because you were self-sufficient,
Right. And I mean, maybe it's not feasible to be completely self-sufficient.
Well, that's the
with
thing. The grid should be there to support you.
Right.
Not
Absolutely.
not to, as your main supply or
Right.
whatever,
Exactly. And like that is the future that we should be looking at. And truly, the fact that we are so completely reliant on oil and the power company,
Right.
is completely unnecessary. And the thing is that we have suppressed the technology that could have had us in a very different place right
Right,
now.
yeah.
And they have aggressively gone after anybody who was looking for energy that wasn't
Oh,
oil.
some cities have outlawed having solar panels on your house or having a windmill
or rain barrels
Or
and all
rain
that stuff, or
barrels and stuff
they
like that.
charge you for it. Yeah.
Yeah,
And we should be doing the opposite.
right.
But we're literally destroying the environment for profit.
Oh.
And it's not profiting us.
Victory gardens.
It's costing us more money,
yeah,
but we're literally suppressing all of these things so that somebody else, some billionaire, can keep raking in money
right.
at the expense
Oh.
of our lives
You mean
and our planet.
Like Nestle, who thinks that water isn't a
Nestle is
human
evil.
necessity. Yeah,
Yeah. I avoid Nestle at all costs. It's
So-
not completely possible. They're kind of everywhere, and you don't even know what all Nestle is. But yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's bullshit.
But-
They think that water isn't a right.
right.
Like, and how do you own the water on this planet? How is that yours?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, that's the thing that. Well, and I've always felt like, look, how does somebody own all the oil under the ground? How do you
right.
get to
Well,
just
they bought the land.
so? But they didn't buy the land. They bought this piece of land to tap into a well deep
Right.
underground.
That spans over more than just their property.
Right. So
And then they run their pipelines through everything and destroy other people's property
well,
in the process.
and that's the other thing. Yeah, they're running their
And then we
pipelines which are
protect
leaking
them.
all over
Yeah,
privately
we
owned land.
protect them when they leak.
They're fracking, destroying other people's water supplies and stuff like that.
They're poisoning the planet.
They're tapping into water supplies that they don't own.
So let's once again discuss how the voting and who we're putting in office affects all of those things.
That's the thing. These evil sons of bitches are being protected by Republicans.
Because they've bought them.
And I hate to say it, but some Democrats are protecting them.
Oh, yeah,
too.
for sure. Definitely some Democrats as well.
But we have to admit that this is happening. So
We absolutely do. And the fact is that as long as it's possible to purchase yourself a politician, it's going to keep happening.
yeah, it's just too bad they're so expensive. I'd start buying them. So
Would you?
yeah, I'd start buying politicians. Turn them against the corporations.
Yeah, they are expensive, though.
So they're extremely expensive.
Mm-hmm.
But Citizens United's got to go. But we're never going to get rid of this terrible legislation unless we start getting out and voting in force. Not just voting. Voting's only the tip of the iceberg. You people need to go out and start running for office. And yes, I plan to myself. This isn't just me talking out my ass thinking everybody else needs to do the work, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody, all the regular working class people need to get out there and become part of the politics, to become representatives and
Right.
you know and senators.
We need to get
who
these
knows,
dinosaurs
presidents
out.
And yes,
Yeah.
the career politicians have to go.
Listen, like, young people, you can't just sit back and complain. I'm sorry, but you can't. The time for that is well gone. It's gone.
It's time for
It's your life, it's your future, or you fucking get involved.
They need to run for office.
They
like
need to
right,
run for
right
office.
from college.
And that was the thing, is like those kids who were that one shooting, you know, how those kids
Parkland?
became like little, yeah. And they're like out there talking and everything, and I'm like, and all these people were fucking attacking these kids who were like freaking survivors of
How
a school
awful
shooting.
do you have to be?
Yeah, you're like fucking evil at that point. But I mean, that gave me a little bit of hope that these kids got out there and like they took it to a level of activism, you know?
Yeah, I still follow one of the kids actually.
Do you?
Yeah.
I've
Yeah, he's
seen
a real
less and
smart
less
kid.
of them, but yeah, but like I was like, okay, the fact that those kids are getting this angry and they're the future.
Yeah.
You know, that gives me a little bit of hope that there are some young people who are still like, and I don't want it to take a shooting, obviously, for people to get involved. But I mean, you need to understand that your future is the one that's on the line.
Right.
And I mean, this isn't something you can sit back and watch. And we all see you complaining on social media. That's not enough.
Right.
It's not enough. Your voice fucking matters. Get out there en masse and change things.
And that's the thing. Some people think that you can't change things, but I've done it personally. Not on a massive scale, but I've been there when somebody has had the epiphany during one of our conversations, and I've had those epiphanies during conversations. You know that maybe I didn't understand the subject fully. You know, and suddenly a mind is changed, you know, or what have you. Or they've latched onto the evidence and finally get
right,
it.
you have to know the difference between when you're wasting your time with somebody who doesn't want to know the truth, which is unfortunately quite a few people, and with somebody who just truly doesn't understand,
Right.
you know? So
well,
I
and a
mean,
lot of people just don't truly understand, but they might be resistant to the truth.
right.
But there might be a
A lot of
detail
people
in what you know that can change their mind.
Right. A lot of people don't want to be told that they were wrong.
Right. But this might also take analyzing what you understand to be the truth yourself.
Right.
You know? But get out there, vote,
There is nothing more important than getting your voice heard.
run for office, you know, have respectful, sensible debate.
Right.
You know, research the topics, make sure that what you know is true. You know? So it's not so easy to know all the time.
Right.
Do we have anything else for them?
No, I don't think so.
Great. Follow us at @fire_American, right?
Yeah.
At Twitter. We also have a Reddit page, American Dumpster Fire on Reddit. So it's r/American Dumpster Fire. Go check it out. Join the discussion. Help us learn and grow. We'll see you next week.
Bye.